In today's video, we're going to cover the 10 most important sales interview questions so that you can land the job, exactly what each question means and how to answer it. I guarantee that you will impress your recruiter if you can apply the advanced interview tip that I'm going to share with you at the end of today's video. Why should you listen to me? I did dozens of sales interviews in order to get hired into my software sales job, and during my 5-year tenure, I listened in on dozens of interviews. I did some interviews and I sat next to many of our sales managers and recruiters, and I would ask them, hey, why did you ask that question? What did you like about that candidate? So I'm going to deliver an insider perspective to you in today's video that you hopefully find valuable. Before we get into the specific questions, this is probably the second most important part of the video besides the advanced interview tip, and it's the real life application. If there's nothing else you take away from the video, it's this right here. Physically write down each one of these questions on a piece of paper, not just type it up. Get out a pen, a piece of paper, write down each of the questions, and then write a 2 to 4 sentence response to each question. The reason why this is so important to your preparation, and this should feel like work, so it's not going to be easy, is because when you just talk, you can BS your way through things. That's what I do a lot of the time, especially during presentations. Not this one, I prepared for this one. But when you're right, you're forced to clarify your thinking, and I promise you it will help for your interview. And then make note of your 5 best stories while you're at it. This will come in handy to a few of the questions. And if you know your 5 stories and experiences, hey, I was in this student organization leadership position. Hey, I worked at Starbucks doing this. Cheers. Think of those stories and those experiences that you can then multi-purpose throughout a lot of these questions. And then finally, do a mock interview with a friend or family member, practicing your answers to these questions. And if you don't have anyone to practice with, reach out to me on LinkedIn, or you can look at yourself in the mirror or just record a video of yourself answering the question so that you can understand your mannerisms, body language, tone, pitch, inflection, and the actual quality of your answers. Question number 1, what do you know about our company so far? You're undoubtedly going to get asked this question. I've been asked this question, and really what they try and do is they just want to understand how much do you actually understand about the company, and this gives them a perspective into how well researched and how well prepared you're going to be when you're actually in the sales job, because preparation is key. An example answer to this question, I've been following some of the sales leaders at your org on LinkedIn. Shout out Gong, Lavender. A lot of these reps are posting from the companies, and I'm sure it puts you interested in actually working for some of these companies because you're like, man, that'd be cool. I want to be one of those guys. And I've seen a consistent message across the board. It's about people. It's about the customers, partners, teammates, and the broader community. It's exemplified in the way your leadership recognizes those people publicly. Your mission to change the way companies engage with customers throughout their life cycle really resonates with me too. I want to help the sales community rise and adopt the best technology like the one you offer while contributing to a greater social mission. From everything I can see, your company provides a great environment to do that kind of work. So this answer is a bit generic, but I think it covers a lot of the bases. When you're thinking about potential answers, I would encourage you to use AI tools like ChatGPT. Just type in, hey, how would you answer this question? Write it down, and then think about what points do you like and can you actually incorporate in your story. Question number 2, walk me through your resume and your background. The reason why they ask you this question is just to get a quick glance. How well do you know your story? This is basically like, why should we hire you? I remember getting asked this question sitting in an office in Boston, interviewing with Dell EMC, didn't end up getting the job. And I remember they asked me about this, and I don't think I was able to quickly be punchy with my main points. So this is a really important question to be able to answer. An example of how you can answer this question in your interview. In my most recent job experience, I managed the front desk with a busy multi-line phone system while being responsible for multiple tasks like greeting guests on arrival, in receiving and sorting mail to 100 employees. Anything you can do to quantify is great, guys. I learned how to comfortably handle communications in person and on the phone and balance that work with my other responsibilities. Before that, I interned at a public relations company and got some great exposure to how businesses position themselves in the market. It was important to keep a positive attitude even when the external environment was hectic and ensure that the customer and their needs were always top priority. I believe both of these experiences are relevant and set me up for success in the fast-paced role of a customer-facing sales rep. Although it sounds like I'm reading this, guys, a bit word for word, which I am, you don't want to come across as robotic in the interviews, but you want to be really well written out on how you would answer these questions so that when you are in the interview, you're prepared to be succinct and be able to deliver a greater point with less words. Question number 3, tell me about a time when you succeeded or were proud of yourself. The reason why the interviewer will ask you about this is because you'll want to pull out one of your stories here and highlight one of your biggest and most impactful experiences that resulted in an actual outcome for yourself or a business. And a universal approach to answer this question, along with other ones, is the STAR framework. This is something I learned when creating resumes. STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. So you're describing the situation. Hey, this is the task I did. This is the action I did. Use some verbs there. And then the result, the outcome, anything you can do to quantify is really important. And remember that you're interviewing for a sales role, so all of your responses should be relevant to the sales position. Not, hey, I used to bake cakes and I put on 6 layers of icing. It was super cool. That's not really going to indicate that you're going to be able to go and generate pipeline for the organization. Question number 4, tell me about a time when you failed. Everyone gets this question. Everyone knows they're going to get this question and they still don't prepare for the question. So that's why videos like this one are so important, guys. The reason why they ask you this question is to demonstrate some sort of self-awareness of you admitting, hey, I made a mistake. Hey, something went wrong, but this is what I learned from it. Once, when I was working with a client on an important project, I told them I'd be finished in 3 weeks' time, but in reality, it took me 4 weeks to finish. In hindsight, I knew that I should have under-promised so that I could over-deliver. And that experience, after that experience, I would manage expectations appropriately from the onset of a new client project and always set a time that's more than how long I know it will actually take me to complete. Most of all, I stay in frequent communication with the client so that they know where they're at with the project. Important, guys, communication. Sometimes things come up and I'm not able to meet expectations, but communicating early and often has helped me avoid issues. Guys, so important not to ramble on in your answers and just get to the point very quickly. Sales interview question number 5, how many windows are there in New York City? So when I was doing my sales interview, I got the question, how many yellow houses were there in Utah? Something weird like that. How many marbles will fit on a 747 Boeing plane, for example? There's always going to be that one oddball question. And the reason they ask you this is so that you can demonstrate your ability to think on your feet, which is really important for sales, and more importantly, your critical thinking skills. So in case you are asked this question, the approximate answer is 32.75 million windows in New York City. But if you were answering it, I'd say, look, in New York City, there's residential apartments, so there's residential windows. I know that there's businesses, so there's a lot of business windows. Everyone has a car, or there's taxis, Uber, some car windows. And then, of course, the public transportation with the buses that are going on in New York. Even if you don't have numbers like this in data, you can walk them through and say, okay, residential, business, housing, public transport. I know there's about 8 million people there. So, probably 50 million windows, something like that. Being able to quantify and break down your thought process will show them that you are a great candidate fit for the job. What do you think will be your biggest challenge in your first 3 months as an SDR, sales development representative? You could insert whatever title you're interviewing for here. And the reason why the interview asks you for this is to show that you've researched the position a little bit. Surprisingly, a lot of folks who are interviewing for these roles don't actually know what they would be doing. So what you need to keep in mind here is acknowledge, hey, I know that this is going to be a challenging and difficult task. Mention that the traits that you embody will allow you to succeed. Hey, I'm resilient, and based on this experience, I know that I'll be able to learn and overcome anything. And then talk about why it is worth it for you to succeed in the role. The reason why I want to be here is because I want to become a manager. I want to become an enterprise sales rep and grow and contribute within your organization. Never forget the reason why they're hiring you is so that you can generate profits in excess of what they are paying you. Never lose sight of that and loop your answers back to that. Pitch our company to me. You're, of course, going to get this in a sales interview. The more senior you are, they're going to really push you on, okay, give me a pitch here. Hey, talk about your previous numbers and pitch how you would be good in this role for me. The reason they're going to ask you this is just to prove that you have some sort of understanding of their industry, some of the jargon and the buzzwords. And some of these terms are universal, like pipeline, prospecting, cold calling, solution presentation, negotiating. But what I want you to think about here in the example answer is try this format. Name of the company. So CourseCareers helps sales leaders solve their problem of not having enough reps to generate pipeline, leading to lack of revenue by we provide a funnel of highly qualified, highly trained reps to your company. So when you get this question, the advanced interview tip that I'm going to share at the end, which plays into identifying the ICP and the BP, ideal customer profile, buyer persona, I'm going to talk about how to do that so that you can go a bit more in depth with pitching the company and what sort of research you need to look at ahead of time. Question number 8, what is most important to you in your next role? The reason why the interviewer is going to ask you this is just to get a sense of, okay, are we a good fit for you, but are you a good fit for us? You as the candidate, keep in mind, the person interviewing you, it's their job to make sure they hire high quality talent that sticks around for a long period of time. So the last thing they want to do is spend all this money training you and you're not actually a good fit for the job. So be honest with them what you're looking for. Hey, it's important for me that I'm a part of an org that aligns around a shared mission and that it shows in my interactions with my colleagues in my departments. It keeps me energized. I'm also looking forward to being part of a team where everyone holds high standards for themselves in those that work with me. And maybe the interviewer says, that's actually not what you're going to get here. And you say, okay, good. Well, I don't think this can be a good fit, and go do the next interview. So it's important to know what you're looking for. Question number 9, how would your previous manager describe you? Self-awareness is going to be important here, and they may also ask for references. So you want to be honest here. What you could say is, hey, they'd say I'm great at pumping up my team members, and then tell a story about how you actually pumped up your team members and an outcome of that. Hey, we made 1,000 more calls in a typical week than we normally would. And my manager took us out for lunch and I gave a speech and it was super cool. Whatever you want to say. Question number 10. And this is something I've seen recently asked speaking with folks who are doing jobs is with this transition of remote work and hybrid work, you may get asked if working from home, what have your greatest challenges been? And they know that they face challenges moving to this remote work, and you've probably faced some challenges as well. So you could answer, after many months working from home, it became a challenge to feel as upbeat and motivated as I did when I was in the office. Something that helped me to overcome this was creating things in my day that differentiated work from home. For example, I used to have to commute. Now that I don't, I take a walk around the neighborhood and listen to Trent's podcast in the morning to stimulate that old routine. If they hear that, they're going to be blown away. Okay, the advanced interview tip. This is really important, and I'm glad you stuck around to the end of the video. So you may get asked in the interview, pitch our company to me. And as part of that, they're going to say, give me a mock cold call selling our product. Write a mock cold email trying to get a meeting selling our product. You may get asked that, you may not. But regardless, you need to be prepared for it. So ahead of any interview, research the company you're interviewing with. And keep in mind, if you're mass applying to companies, you're not going to want to do this. But if you have 3 to 5 companies that you want to work for more than anything, you'll go to this length of research. Research the company beginning with ICP. This stands for Ideal Customer Profile. Who is the target market in general that they sell to? So for example, CourseCareers. CourseCareers is basically providing highly trained students to companies looking to hire sales development reps. So that's the ideal customer profile. Tech companies hiring SDRs. Next level, buyer persona. Who within that company that's going to buy is actually the person in charge of the buying decision. That's called the buyer persona. So in the example of CourseCareers, it's going to be a VP of sales, an SDR manager, or recruiter, somebody that's looking to hire SDRs because the product is the talent in the funnel, the trained SDRs. So when you're looking at the companies you're interviewing with, you want to go to that length of research. And a tip for this is you can actually reach out to the existing reps of that company. Don't even ask for a meeting with them or time because they're busy. They're probably going to say no. Just say, hey, I got this upcoming interview. What do you like about the company? And once they prove they can answer, then you say, hey, I'm working on a mock email just so I can really wow the recruiter. Even if they don't ask you for it, bring it to them anyway and say, I did this research. I identified a contact list of 5 people who actually fit this persona. Ask them after they've complied and answered one question, you know you're in the door. Say, hey, you mind sending me an example email of what you send just so I can read it and research it? Hey, you mind just giving me your cold call script or what you look for when prospecting? Get this from the rep so that you can take it into the interview and say, hey, I spoke with XYZ rep. They really love the company. That got me excited about our interview. Something I prepared proactively here because I wanted to demonstrate my ability of how I'm going to generate pipeline for your company. Here's a few prospects that I would begin calling day one. As a matter of fact, I have begun to prospect them using this messaging right here. No answers yet, but just want to demonstrate that I can start the job and I'll be an impact player day one. If you drop that, guaranteed you're getting the job. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, hey, I don't know how to write a cold email. Hey, I don't know how to do a cold call. Fortunately for you, and if you're interested in starting your career in tech sales, I am the instructor at CourseCareers, where I put together the most in-depth course online teaching people how to break into tech sales, land high-paying jobs. You don't need a degree, you don't need an experience. I've linked the free tech sales intro course below. You can literally see me on the screen. It's an advanced high-quality course. This is totally for free. Why sales development? What is sales development? How to actually get started in sales development. Over 90 minutes of free content if you want to learn more about tech sales. I increased my income from $77,000 to $302,000 in the profession, completely transformed my life. So I'm now on a mission to help others do the same. And within CourseCareers, you will actually gain access to our network of coaches who are students. And we've had thousands that successfully go through the program and land their sales positions. And we have dozens of coaches now in our network of folks that offer free group coaching weekly so that you can turn up with them and do a mock role play. You can surround yourself with other like-minded people. You can get that one-on-one attention you need to ask specific questions to help you navigate through the course so that you can increase your odds of success in actually landing the job. Visit the first link in the description below, and I look forward to seeing you in CourseCareers and welcoming you formally as part of the team. Message me on LinkedIn with any questions. Sources for today's video. If you found value in today's video, like the video now, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you in the next video.